All right, welcome to the show, y'all. Today is a big day. Today is debate day. So I'm going to be giving you a preview of the Republican debate, what I expect to happen, some predictions that I'll make, soft predictions, let's call them. I'm just as interested as you guys in seeing how it unfolds, but I have some ideas as to how it's going to go. We're going to talk about that in just a minute. By the way, reminder, tune in to Crystal, Kyle, and Friends. We're going to have a special episode tomorrow. It's going to drop a day early, and it's going to be Crystal and I doing a thorough debate breakdown. So definitely check that out. You can always sign up on Substack too. Link in the video description box below. You guys know, man, I'm a political junkie. I'm a little bit of a nerd, a little bit of a wonk, and to me, this is like the Super Bowl, so I'm really looking forward to it. So I'm going to lead with a debate preview in just a second, what we have to look forward to. We also got some really big news that dropped last night, man. There's somebody who is involved directly in Trump's scheme to cover up the classified documents, who has now flipped on him. And that is a big L for our big, beefy, wet boy. So we'll talk about that. Then Ted Cruz falls for one of the oldest internet hoaxes of all time. Twitter is absolutely imploding. We have some more fights on Fox News. There's just a lot of stuff to get to today. So anyway, everybody do me a big favor. Click that like button. Click that subscribe button. We're trying to continue to grow our sub number, so hook a brother up with that. Also, click that bell icon so you get a notification every single time a video drops. Blah, blah, blah. Shameless plugs. You know the deal. Support the show on Patreon. Support by tipping on YouTube. I don't talk to any advertisers, etc., etc. All right, let's go ahead and dive into it here. We have the first Republican debate tonight. Donald Trump is not going. In fact, he made a big show of he's probably not going to any debates, plural. So it leaves a big void on the stage. But honestly, at the same time, I think it's kind of a bad idea because his appeal, it's his vibes to his base and the fact that he is the show. He's the show. And so now he's turning the show over. I mean, I know he's doing an interview with Tucker Carlson on Twitter, but nobody's going to watch that shit. I mean, sure, they'll juice the numbers like Twitter always does. But nobody's going to watch that over the debate. People are interested in the debate. Okay, so I think it's a big mistake of his to not do it. He's already leading by 1,000,000 points, but I think this can only go in one direction for him. I don't think it's going to help him. Let me give you a little look at what the numbers are right now, the national averages right now, and then I'm going to go person for person on the stage and tell you who I think is going to have a good night and who's going to have a bad night. So we have, of course, Trump is leading by 1.5 miles, 52.2%. This is the averages according to 538. We have DeSantis, who at one point was at like 25% or so. Now he's dropped all the way to 14.5%. We have Ramaswamy made a big surge. He's at 8.9%. Pence lost ground a little bit. He's at 4.2%. Tim Scott, I don't even know how he surged this much. I thought he was a 1%er and would remain a 1%er for all time. But apparently he's at 3.5%. Nikki Haley, same thing, 3.4%. Christie with a surge, and he's running solely in the anti-Trump lane, and he got to 3.3%. He's doing particularly well in some of those northeastern states like New Hampshire. He surged into second place in the polling in New Hampshire. You have ASA Hutchinson, 0.7%, Doug Burgum, 0.4%, Will Hurd, 0.3%, and then Suarez, the Miami governor, is all the way down there at 0.2%. And I don't even think this has all of the candidates. I know there's a guy by the name of Perry Johnson who's like an ancient businessman who looks like he's an embalmed corpse. I know his ass is running. He tried to get on the debate stage. He didn't make it. He's probably down there in 0.1%, that range, or literally 0%. So who's going to be at this debate? Well, we have Tim Scott, Ron DeSantis, Nikki Haley, Vivek Ramaswamy, Christie, Mike Pence, Doug Burgum, and Asa Hutchinson. So let's go one by one here. Tim Scott, I think he is going to shit the bed. He has the personality of a dirty diaper. Listening to him is like watching paint dry. He's one of those people that the second he opens his mouth, you can't help but fall asleep. He is a complete and utter donor creation. My understanding about Tim Scott is he's liked by a lot of his colleagues, and so behind the scenes, he plays the game with the big donors. He's nice to everybody. Everybody likes him. And so he has this false sense of, you know, maybe I can go somewhere because everybody seems to like me interpersonally and the big donors are behind me. But in reality, he has zero personality, so he's just going to run into a brick wall. Ron DeSantis. Now, Ron DeSantis has been flailing. He's been going slowly but surely down and down some more and down some more. But look, I have to say, now the bar is so low for him, he might have a decent night. Because if he just shows even the tiniest bit of charisma or has like a couple of contentious exchanges where he edges somebody out and gets the best of him, then I think the media could be right back, the conservative media in particular, to sucking him off. So for DeSantis, I say it's a 50-50 proposition. If anything, I might give it 55% that he'll have a good debate. For Tim Scott, I got him all the way down at 5% chance he has a good debate. Nikki Haley barely exists. She has a similar backstory to Tim Scott. The donors love her. Interpersonally behind the scenes, the politicians in South Carolina love her. But really, they're trying to make something out of nothing. Basically, she's an identity politics play for conservatives to be able to say, us, bro? Racist? Sexist? We got a woman, and she's a woman of color, and, she's running and stuff, so, bro, we're the party of diversity and stuff. Whatever, bro. That's the whole idea of Nikki Haley. Also, she's a diehard neocon, super corrupt, but yet again, the chances of her having a good debate all the way down to 5%, I just don't see it. There's certain kinds of people where they don't have the ability to add, inflection in their voice. They don't have a rhythm or a cadence to when they speak. It's very I am monotone, and I am going to tell you something in monotone. Are you falling asleep as I talk? Well, that is the effect I have on people. And Nikki Haley, just like Tim Scott, is one of those people. It's like she could be saying something that is actually a crazy story that's interesting or whatever, and you're still because she has negative charisma. Now, this one's probably one of the most interesting ones on stage, Vivek Ramaswamy. For Vivek, I think it's going to be feast or famine, because here's the thing. He's dynamic, he's certainly charismatic, but he also comes across as a smug politician, and he's super duper wordy. Something that you or I would say in one sentence, Vivek fluffs it up to say it in 5. And while that might be good in certain formats, in certain kinds of interviews, on podcasts or whatever, when it comes to debates, you got to be quick, you got to be punchy. And I think his politicianiness is going to hurt him. I think the fact he's too wordy is going to hurt him. But having said that, he probably is one of the more charismatic people on the stage. So again, for him, it's going to be feast or famine. It's either going to be, Jesus, he's annoying, he had a horrible debate, he talked too much, it sucked. Or it's going to be, oh, he actually seemed to do better than everybody else on stage, and at least he held my attention when he talked. So with Vivek, I'm going to go 55% chance he has a good debate. Now we get to the really interesting ones. Christie. I think Christie's going to knock it out of the park. I think, and that's not just me, that's not just because of my bias that, I like the fact that he beats up on Trump, even though I do like the fact that he beats up on Trump. But it's in 2016 when he ran last, he was chained. He listened to the consultants, he listened to the staffers, he listened to the people who told him, you can't be yourself and win this race. You can't yell at people, you can't be arrogant, you can't be obnoxious, you can't be a bloviator. You got to reel it in. You got to act more like a politician. You got to act more like a civilized human being. I think now he realizes, okay, I got nothing to lose here. And he's running, I think, solely as a martyr against Trump. So he probably doesn't even think he has a real chance of winning. And so I think that frees him up. It frees him up to be the Christie that had like a 60-something% approval rating in New Jersey before the Bridgegate scandal. And so for Christie, I think he's probably going to have the best debate. I think I'm going to put him at like 75% chance that he has a good debate. He's unchained. I think he's going to be firing in every which direction. Now, again, this is not to say I agree with his politics, because he's deeply, deeply conservative on the actual policies. But I think he's going to come across as the most put together, the most confident. And so I'm really looking at him to have probably the best debate. Then we have Mike Pence. I might surprise people with this one, but I think he'll probably have a good debate. Without Trump there, I think it makes it easier for Mike Pence. I think it makes it easier for him to deliver his lines. I think he'll come across as like the quote-unquote old-school Republican. And I think that at the end of the debate, he won't fade into the background like some of these other guys. I think he'll assert himself, and I think he'll have a good debate. Now, whether or not that'll matter in terms of the polling, who's to say? I have no idea if he's actually going to get a bump from it, but I expect him to probably have a decent debate as well. So, in fact, in the top tier category, I would probably put Christie and Pence. Those are the two who I'm expecting the most from. And then the tier just underneath that, I put DeSantis and Ramaswamy. And then look, let's keep it real. Everybody else is not just in the tier underneath that. They're in the tier 42 places underneath that. So when it comes to Burgum, when it comes to ASA Hutchinson, they barely exist. They're barely alive. They're barely breathing. They barely can talk. I seriously don't know what they're doing. They have misread the political moment so thoroughly. I mean, I said it about Burgum. It's probably true about Asa Hutchinson as well. Burgum is a North Dakota Republican. So in his mind, he still thinks it's 1989. And he's running a campaign like it's 1989. He's running a campaign like the Trump era never happened. He's running a campaign like, we're not coming towards the end of the neoliberal era where there's anger and populist rage everywhere. Asa Hutchinson, same thing, I guess, down there in Arkansas. Apparently there's a population of 17 people down there. He's totally disconnected. So the worst performances for sure, I expect Doug Burgum, who's so goddamn plastic, Asa Hutchinson, who barely knows how to speak, and Tim Scott and Nikki Haley. Like I said, mid-tier, you go DeSantis, you go Vivek. Vivek is going to be feast or famine. DeSantis may be feast or famine too. I expect the most from Christie and Mike Pence. But look, I'm telling you all this in advance so we can all have fun after the fact, right? We could all, oh my God, Kyle was so wrong after the fact when we do our debate breakdown on Crystal Kyle and Friends. I'm really looking forward to watching it. I'll probably live tweet it. I'm really looking forward to talking about what happens afterwards. But certainly, top tier, who I'm expecting the most from is Christie and Pence. Mid-tier, Vivek and DeSantis. Bottom tier, all these other losers who barely exist. And then the other thing to look out for is who is solely running just to take down Trump. Christie probably goes in that category. And then who is just trying to position himself for VP. And also, how much does Trump actually come up? Is he going to dominate the entire debate? Are they just going to keep asking questions about Trump and his 91 criminal charges and all these other things around it? Or will they actually take some time to get to policy? Because the fact of the matter is we know that the Republicans have nothing. When it comes to policy, they're deeply despised in the country, so they try to deflect from that. One of the ways they do that is with culture war stuff, but one of the ways the media might do that on this front is by bringing up Trump. So we'll all find out together. I'm really looking forward to it. Definitely check out our debate breakdown after the fact, but those are some of my predictions moving forward. Hey y'all, do me a favor and like and subscribe. It helps out big time in the algorithm. Click the bell as well for notifications when videos drop. And watch that video on screen right now. You know you want to.